Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of our Android TIFF calculator tutorial. And what we have currently is this, where we have the app up there. We have this tip thing that changes, but when you change the tip up here, it does not calculate in real time what the tip is down here. So let's fix that. Go to the onProgressChanged method, and this method is the thing that is run whenever we change the SeekBar, and create a for loop. And this is going to be another one of the very common for loops we use. We can actually just copy it from here. And it's basically the for loop that runs through all the diners in diner list, and we've been using it for a long time now, so I don't need to explain it. And for every diner, what we want to do is run the update total function or method. I'm sorry, I keep saying method, and in some programming languages a method is called a function, so that's why I do it. Like in Python you call it a function, not a method, like in Java. But yeah, I meant method. So run the update total method for each diner. And for the arguments, just put 1, tip %value. And Eclipse will have a problem. And the problem, of course, is that the update total method we just had takes two methods. We did this in the last video. We added, two arguments. We added another parameter in the last video that was the tip, so now there are 2 parameters for update total, and we're only giving it 1. We gave it 2 because when we're calculating the tip after the user has edited an edit text, we want to format the edit text as well as have the tip in there as an argument. Down here, we're not dealing with any specific edit text, so we really just have the tip %value to work with. So how do we fix this problem here? Well, it's simple. We're going to do something called overloading a method. So let me do a quick paint lesson. Overloading, what does this mean? Well, if you go back to main activity and you go to the place where we have add view here, you'll notice that here we have add view with 2 arguments, and up here we have add view with 1 argument. And you'll remember I said that add view has 1 mandatory argument and 1 optional argument. So the first argument is just whatever thing you're adding, and the second argument is where you want to add that thing, the position at which you want to add that thing. And if you don't put the second argument, it'll just put it at position number 0, so it'll add it as the first element of whatever you're adding it to. Now, that appears to mean that you're using 2 different versions of one method, and that's true, but the real thing that's happening here is that there are 2 methods. One is add view, and the other one is add view, except with 1 argument. So there actually exists 2 different and separate methods, and they're both called add view. And this is called overloading a method. So we're overloading the add view method with 2 versions of it. And you might have assumed that maybe you can only have 1 name for each method and it has to be a unique name, but that's actually not true, although that would have been a reasonable guess. So what we're going to do is we're going to overload the update total method. So our second version is going to be update total with only 1 parameter, and that will be the tip. And you can only do this when you can do this as long as the method that you're overloading, each version of that method has a different set of arguments. So here we have 2 arguments, here we have only 1. We could also have 2 here as long as the first one is not an edit text. And then based on what you pass into the method when you use it, then Java or the computer will automatically find the correct version of update total to run. And so when we run update total with only 1 argument, what we wanted to do is basically the exact same thing as here. So let's just put that there, and let's use 2 arguments. And for the edit text argument, let's pass et first order. So ET first order is the first order that every customer has, so we know that they have that particular edit text because a diner cannot exist without an ET first order. And then the tip is just whatever was passed into the tip in main activity. So let's think about what's going on all the way over here. Where is it? Okay, so we're going through the diner list, and for each diner we update the total and we use tip percent value. So let's say it's 0.15. Then the Android will go and look at our code in diner here, and it'll see there's two methods called update total. Okay, and one of them has one double as a parameter, and one of them has an edit text and a double as a parameter. And since we just passed one double as an argument, it'll realize that we want to run this method. So it runs this method, and this method says run the update total method with ET first order and whatever tip we gave it. So again, it carries the tip over to this new method here. And again, Android realizes we're talking about this method this time because there are two arguments instead of just one. So it runs this method, except it uses the default value of ET first order for this edit text. And then it'll do what it normally does. So this basically means, so say you have add view here, and it has a lot of code here, right? Add view with just one argument is basically add view arg1 0. See, when you don't provide an argument, it just runs the same version, or it just runs the version of the method and uses a default value for one of the arguments. At least that's one way to do overloading methods, or having different versions of the same method. So that's what we're doing here, because when we run when we change the SeekBar, we don't have any particular order text or order edit text in mind. So we're just going to pass the tip value, and that assumes ET first order, which is the first order of any diner, and every diner has that, and it uses that to complete the method. There are different ways to solve this problem here. We didn't have to do it this way. We didn't have to use overloading, but I felt it was a good time to introduce the concept of overloading methods. Anyway, so now every time we change it, we're calling update total on every single diner, so that way every time we change the tip, everything within, or everything in the tip split portion of the app will update, and we can go ahead and check that now. Looks like another short video, which is good. Let's make it a little bit more complicated so we can check the math properly and make sure everything's working correctly. Okay, right now it's at 15%, $23.115, that's correct. Let's boost it up to 50, and as you can see, it's changing in real time. So it looks like our calculations are working quite well. That's great. Okay then, that's it for this video. I'll see you guys next time, where we'll, probably try to make this text view here update too, or maybe work on tax or grand total, I don't know. We'll see. See you guys next time.